What is up, everyone? It is farmer's market season, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make some beautiful fresh pasta, and the sauce is going to be packed with all of these beautiful vegetables that I picked up from the Ithaca farmer's market. Hey everyone, so today I'm making a pasta dish. I was at the Ithaca farmer's market. I have some amazing produce I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but first and foremost I'm going to be making tagliatelle. Really simple. I'm going to make it from scratch. So we're going to start there, build our pasta, let it rest, and while it's resting, we can start building our sauce. First things first, flour. I like to use half semolina. That's 150 grams, and then half like all-purpose. You know, it doesn't really matter. You could use, I think that's actually Neapolitan flour. Egg yolks, water, olive oil. That's it. And make sure, this is important too, the strainer. I'm going to talk about that later. And a bench scraper. So I'm going to incorporate this flour. I'm going to go right on the table. And I'll take a glass, or this is just a little prep cup. Make a nice little well. I'm going to go in my egg yolks. 6 egg yolks. Fork. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of salt. I am going to eyeball the water. It's about 2 little squirts, and then the olive oil, same thing, 1 and 2. You don't want to go too heavy with the olive oil in the water. And now you get to whisking. So that's coming together really nice. Just make sure you don't break your well. If it's in the beginning, I'll just do a couple sprinkles to kind of just form that dough. I could probably work that right now. So right there, that's really wet. But I know, take a little flour, put it on the fork, and just let that go like that. This is where your sifter is really important. This is where this comes into play. I'm going to scrape, 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 cover the whole thing. And that's my dough. These crusty pieces that stuck to the table. So it's real important when you're about to start kneading your dough, sift your flour and get rid of all those little bits off your fingers and all. This is the stuff that you don't want in your dough. And you might have to do this a few times throughout the process, but that is definitely not what you want your dough. This pasta dough, you can freeze it. It freezes really well. I'm going to let it rest in the refrigerator, clean this up, and start prepping my ingredients. Alright guys, so I cut my pasta dough in half. I put the other half in the freezer for another time. I have some flour, my knife, and the KitchenAid with the pasta attachment. So what I'm going to do now is go down with a little flour and just flatten this out. You just want to get it flat enough so that it can go into the machine. It starts at 1 through 8, so you want to start at 1, the biggest setting, and then you gradually go down. I'm going to probably take this to a 7, but we'll take a look, we'll see. You want to add flour if you feel your dough, especially if it's sticky or a little wet still. So I folded that, I did a tri-fold, so I went here and I went there. And now I'm going to feed it the fold side, right? I'm going to feed it that straight down like that. All right, so this is looking really nice. It's smooth. I don't have too many tears. The edges are pretty much in line, and it's even, right? That's really important that it's even. If these parts are a little overlapping, just tuck those in. But that's it. I'm going to pass this through one more time. Now I'm going to go into a number 2, and then we're going to make a conveyor belt. It's the easiest way to stretch this out if you don't have a partner in crime. All right, now we're just going to simply make a nice slice there. Now, what I'll do, make sure there's some flour underneath here, and I'm going to start to size up my pasta. So I'm going to go the length of my knife. We'll cut that right there. A little dusting, and put that guy here. A little dusting on top. Same thing, making sure we have the exact size. Now there's pasta attachments that you could feed through, it'll cut it for you, but I'm going to do this by hand. I really like the rustic tagliatelle. So I'm going to go like right about that, just a few folds. That size right about there. It's a similar size to my ingredients. So, you know, now that we have these beautiful ribbons, we're gonna start building our sauce now. I have water boiling. Let's put this pasta off to the side and get cooking our sauce. All right, guys, our pasta's done. I'm gonna start building the sauce, but I want you to get close to the ingredients so you can see it. So I'm gonna jump out of the frame and just kind of like talk while I work. Some amazing organic local garlic, and it had the stem or whatever on it.
I hit him in his. We hit the deer in his paw. What do you call it?
The paw.
The paw.
The foot.
The hoof. The hoof.
It had like a big extension on it. That's very fibrous, but what I did is I chopped it up and I just fortified my stock, as you can see. So these pieces were an extension of the garlic, and I threw some chives in there as well. Really, really nice flavor out of that. So don't throw that away. Super, super thin. And I'm not gonna go heavy. That's plenty there. I'm gonna go a little olive oil down. I'm gonna put the garlic in first. I'm gonna go with a little bit of salt. Now that I have a little bit of brown on that garlic, it's nice and sweet. I'm gonna hit a little chopped onion, a tiny bit of crushed red pepper. All right, I'm gonna go in with the basil now. Tomatoes. Look at that. In a separate pan, I took white wine and I reduced it, if you could see that. I reduced it until almost like a glaze. This is chicken stock that I fortified with those beautiful garlic tips and some chives. So this stock is gonna go right in there. You can use a vegetable stock. But yes, that's gonna really help our, oh, we don't want that in there. That's gonna really help our sauce out. That beautiful fortified chicken stock. This white wine reduction, just a little bit there for acidity. That's gonna help give our sauce some acidity, some base to it, right? Now, I'm gonna go in with these beans, the purple snap peas. They go right in. I'm gonna add my beans, right? And then my zucchini right before I boil the pasta. I don't feel the need to blanch it because I could just cook it right in our sauce. I'll just add a lid. I'll hit that with a lid, I'll cap that and just let that cook down. All right, guys, I blanched off these beans. I just added them to the carrot. This sauce is coming together beautifully. We have our beans and our carrots. We're gonna toss that. Give that a nice toss. All right, guys, there it is. And keep in mind, when you add your pasta, there's gonna be some water in there as well. So that's gonna actually add some moisture. Give that a toss. Oh yeah. I like to finish this with a little bit of butter. Again, optional. Now those chives, we're gonna finish with those chives and just a little bit more of that basil. We're gonna turn the heat off. I turned the heat off because I'm about to add my grana padano cheese that I grated. Last thing is that lemon zest. We're just gonna hit it with a little bit of lemon zest. That's gonna freshen it up, give it a nice rinse. I'm going to go in. I like to mix a little cheese and herbs together and go right on top. Support your local farmers market, guys. You could take the same ingredients, you could make your own version of it, and if you don't want to make fresh pasta, just buy pasta. You could definitely do this sauce with regular bought pasta from the store. I think that's all I got. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do, especially if you love food, and I appreciate it. Catch you next time.